Hi everybody. Today I'm walking with my dog just like every other day. But I've decided to come to the lakes in this beautiful area. There's a lake. And yeah, hopefully it's not too windy. If you want to have this walk with me, stick around. Listen, or just close your eyes. You don't have to look at the screen. In my previous video I talked about how you have to keep on moving, keep on trying, getting up, defying gravity when you're sensitized, when you have chronic fatigue, whatever symptom, when you have things that are chronically firing pathways of fear and anxiety, overwhelm and trauma loops, life can be unbearable and difficult, at least to say. Right now, I'm not having the best day, to be honest. Since the solar flares, I'm not really my normal self, and I'm just trying to take it easy. But I have received a letter from my insurance that wasn't, the type of letter you want to have, the type of letter you'd like to read. Like, oh, we have so much money to give you back because you haven't been sick in so many years. Like, you should get like 1 million euro from us. Nope. Just total opposite. So it shook me a bit, and yet another thing to take care of. Like it's not enough. So I had a bit of a, amygdala scream and overwhelm. Because you see, when your brain is like sensitized, or your nervous system along with it, or when you have a lot of trauma and things that, shook your brain, it reacts to normal things and it emphasizes in this negative way, and it says, this is too much, I can't do this, oh my god, not another problem. Okay, so I had to really pace myself, take a deep breath, and allow my cortisol and adrenaline to enjoy my veins and enjoy being in my body. My dog is searching for something, as usual. She's a hunter. Mouse, I'd like to keep moving. Come by, come in. And I'm like, okay, this is definitely not something I was expecting. I was expecting completely different letter. Sorry for that shake. I have to get something to hold my camera. But this letter came, and after a few minutes I allowed my body to go through this. My brain went into all these negative thinking patterns, and in these moments you have to activate your prefrontal cortex and say, okay, first of all, this is not life-threatening situation, even though it's pretty close to it in some way. But I'm like, okay, what is a normal, balanced, coherent brain type of reaction? What would a normal, meaning not sensitized brain think of this? What would a brain that does not have this loop and fear-based type of thinking react like to this situation? And what would an adult do? Because you see, when we are triggered, we are not ourselves anymore. We are not our age. We become little kids. And so I said, well, of course, I would just take care of this. It's not great news, but it's life. And I can't change the system in the world and how things are and how the government is doing things with us. I can't change that. I can complain about it. I can call my girlfriend and cry about it for sure. But what does that bring me? Because I've done that. When I was at my worst, I done that. And then I felt worse. I pitied myself and she pitied me, and because that's what friends are for. Oh, and then I had to do it anyway. So, because it's your limbic system that is in the steering wheel, holding the steering wheel, it reacts first, and maybe then you have a chance to respond. What do you got there? Mouse? Is there a mouse there? No, come shit. Let's keep moving. So, you have to be this adult that can deal with life and that can simply accept that some things we can't control, like what our government is doing. And this is a tricky one because our brains like to take us to these, victim mentalities of, oh my God, why are they doing this to me? And yet another challenge, I'm barely coping, and I have no energy, and now I have to do this. Okay, wait, don't. Okay. So everything feels too much, everything feels overwhelming, right? Sure. But that's not you, that's your limbic system. You're screaming, baby. So you have to show up for yourself. First you have to allow, feel it, and then if you can, after a couple of minutes, you say, okay, now I have a little bit more prefrontal access to my prefrontal brain. I can think a little bit more clear, and I have to remind myself that I'm an adult and I can do hard things, because everything right now feels very hard. Little things, little challenges, things that normally you would not have a second thought about, now feel very, very overwhelming to your brain. And so your brain just screams, oh my God, danger, we can't. Retreat, go, lay down, escape the threat. So, right. I hope it's not shaking too much, but I'm just trying out. It's not really great to hold my camera. There's the running. Hello. There are some sheeps. Hey. So I said, good. I can do hard things, and this feels difficult, but it is okay. And I'll just pace myself, and I'll take breaks. I will find out what I have to find out, ask around what I have to do in this situation, and then I said to myself, everything happens for me. Everything happens for me. So even if it's very challenging and it feels so unfair, the moment I read it, I'm like, this is so unfair. It's very easy to complain about government and the money we pay, because it's crazy what they make us do, but it is what it is, This is what's happening. And I can't go out there and fight the world and the system right now. There's no point, right? So at least, look at those. Meh. Meh. Just want to see if they answer. Meh. 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 Nobody's answering. Hello. Meh. Okay, they're just like, we know you're human and you're making fool out of yourself. Well, thanks for nothing. So, where was I? I paced myself. I wrote an email, I wrote a letter, I informed myself. In between, I said to myself, everything happens for me. Even if it's not what I wanted to happen, it happens for me. So I say, yeah, it will strengthen me. You know, I'm just learning yet another hard thing to do. And I always say, it's like you have a choice. You can always choose a different thought. It does not feel true at the beginning. When you try new thoughts, your whole system's gonna just like, what? Now! What are you talking about? That's not true. But repetition creates neural pathways, and if you back it up with emotions, you strengthen this connection. And you constantly create new experiences every day, or you constantly repeat old behaviors and strengthening those. So it's always a choice. Even if it doesn't feel like you have a choice, you do. And it's better to believe that than be and go against yourself and tell me, no, Patty, I have no choice. Because it's just not helping you, that thought. And it's a choice to think that thought and believe that thought, right? So it's all about those little micro choices. That was what I wanted to say. Sorry for that. We do in each and every moment. When we have so little control, where we have so little power, those micro decisions kind of determine how your life is going to go, and if you're going to move forward, crawling forward, if that's your case, or you're going to stay stuck and just lay there and rest, which is also part of recovery. Sometimes you just need to lay on the floor and do nothing until you can do something again. So it all works together. Yeah? So you're never doing anything wrong. However you're trying to recover, you're doing your best, and that's enough. When you can't go, you move. But back to the topic of this video, as my battery is like low, I'm gonna close soon. Things that are normal and things that are manageable, maybe not pleasant, and things that we don't really agree with, they do happen. It's life. But currently you're so sensitized, you're on edge, maybe you're in a flare-up or setback, everything feels too much. And you want to retreat, and sometimes you do have to retreat and give yourself a few hours of, quiet rest. Allow your brain to slow its waves down from high beta, which are now happening inside of your brain, like high beta. It's not normal beta, it's just like, ooh, like with a beta waves. So meditate, slow down your breathing, just to help your brain to slow down a little bit more to alpha. Meditate, observe, don't judge, allow. And once you feel like you can think clearly again, return to your challenge. Return to the thing you have to do and do it. And while you are doing it, repeat to yourself, okay, this is manageable. I can do this. I don't have to do it all at once, but today I'm gonna do this little part, and then tomorrow I'll do that part. This way you're pacing yourself, and your brain might still react big time and give you symptoms because it thinks it can't do. But you have to, through actions, constantly show your brain, yes we can, yes we can, yes we can. And it won't feel like you're flipping the switch instantly and you feel better. No, first you will eat shit and you will be met with resistance. and it can get unbearable. But after all, the target, the goal is to move forward, to keep moving. Little tiny steps, but always moving forward. So you have to remember that your brain right now is not responding well to normal things. And that's why you, the CEO, mindful conductor as I like to call it, have to direct it and have to remind yourself that, okay, this reaction is far too big and it's very emotional. And whenever you're becoming too emotional, in other words, if you're into this deep fear or a lot of aggression or upset or like crying, it's not you, it's your limbic system, which is your amygdala. And that's something that you have to wait through a little bit until you learn to have enough capacity to allow more of that and be still able to activate your prefrontal cortex. But life is not too hard. Those things are not too hard for you. They feel like that right now, but it's not true. So you can't believe those messages, and you have to coach yourself by listening to videos like this one or from other people who have experience with this type of stuff. And even if you don't feel it right now, trust somehow that that's what's happening, that you're not broken, even though you do feel like that you are totally capable, even though it feels you can't, that you have the energy, even though you don't have access to it right now, that nothing dangerous is happening, even though it feels like the house is on fire and the world is collapsing and you're gonna die, but nothing is happening. That's all. With all my sympathy for myself and you, I wish you a good day, to make the best out of the day you have, because days are good. What you feel is not real right now. It's just sensitization, just adrenaline and cortisol, old pathways. That's all that's happening. Take care.